Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Sofa Kingz YouTube channel. I'm joined alongside my good buddy, good friend, all around good guy, great musician. What can I say? Steven Shred. I had to hype you up there a bit, man. How you doing,
I
brother?
appreciate it. I'm doing pretty good, man. How are you?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. Finally a day off from work. I don't have to work that crazy ass Yankees series. I don't think the Yankees have played at the Dodgers in like 3, 4 some years or something crazy.
Yeah,
Craziest number. So when those games happen, it's always packed. So I'm kind of glad I don't have to deal with all that traffic.
I'm sure.
So I mean, it'll suck not getting the same paycheck, but at the same time, like I worked enough games this week, I'll be all right.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm sure it's made up for it.
absolutely, Matt. You know what? We haven't talked about what's going on with you and music, man. If you want to give a real quick plug as
Oh
you
yeah,
unplug your earphone.
as I unplug one of my ears. Yeah, I'm in a band called The Human Extinction. We're on most social media platforms as THX official because the original vocalist stole The Human Extinction and locked us out.
Well, damn.
Yeah, so it's THX underscore official. It's deathcore, pretty heavy stuff. So if that's what you're into, but if you got the stomach for fighting, you probably got the stomach for heavy music. So
Hey, I like that. I like that. Well, you know what? Speaking of fighting, let's get into it. We had the first episode of The Ultimate Fighter this season between Coach Connor and Coach Michael, Mr. Chandler. Um, I mean, do we just want to talk about the fight right away, or do we want to talk about the episode? I'll let you.
we talk about the episode first because the
Okay.
fight I feel is going to turn into a whole thing. So let's get into the episode first.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, we start off with introducing the fighters and the format and how we're gonna pick the fighters. So Dana tells us that, hey, it's gonna be prospects versus veterans, and I'm on board with that, man. I love that. Um,
Yeah,
we end up getting Chandler and Connor both getting the what is it the veterans and the prospects respectively, right? So Connor getting the prospects, believing that they can, I guess, be more hungry.
yeah. He specifically said the young blood, but which little weird, being that some of the prospects are older than the veterans. But yeah,
Yeah,
it seems that's his philosophy.
veteran.
Young blood.
I mean, veteran meaning like,
Yeah, they've been
they've
through
been in the
it.
UFC or they've been on the Contender Series.
Yeah.
Even we have a name here, Brad Katona, the number 2 guy for Team Chandler at 135. One tough, was it 27 or something like that?
Yeah, I forgot which one, but one of the more recent ones, yeah.
So I mean, all the vets are gonna have a chip on their shoulder. I keep saying that specific fighters have a chip on their shoulder. All these guys do, man. One of the prospects was what 16-2, 16-4, or something like that. I'm like
Yeah.
that. He's been around. He's been fighting for a good minute, you know. Um,
Yeah. I was surprised to see Jason Knight specifically.
really, yeah, fighting
I mean,
155.
being his last fight in the UFC, he bit someone. So,
I
it
we'll
was a
see
little
what.
strange seeing him in there again.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what other fights. Was it just the bite that prompted him to leave?
No, I believe he was on a losing streak. There was 2 specific fouls in that fight that he committed,
Mm-hmm.
and I believe they took the point. I forgot what the first foul was, but, the fighter he was fighting said, "He bit me," and they looked, and there was a huge bite mark on his chest.
Damn.
It was come to think of it, I don't know if they actually did take the point, but
Mm.
it was very apparent that he did get bit because there was a huge bite mark on his chest.
Oh my god. I'll probably
Yeah.
be having like an image of that, like as you're saying that.
Yeah, like, I that is what I that is what I just, like, pair with the thought of Jason Knight, so seeing him back in there, I was just like, What?"
Yeah.
Like like, alright, they wanna see if someone gets bit again, but who knows, maybe that was he claimed it was an accident, but I don't know how you accidentally bite someone.
Fair enough.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, you could be able to control that.
Back to the episode.
We also got to see different coaching styles from both Connor and Michael. Connor immediately jumping into some good sparring rounds. What did you think of the contrast of the two different styles? Do you think it works for specifically who they're coaching? Because I think you have to coach the prospects and the vets a little bit differently. So, get your thoughts on that.
I mean, episode 1, it's a little difficult to see how it'll play out as far as like the coaching styles, but I feel like I don't know Chandler's background a whole lot if he does do coaching. I know Connor has done some with like his team.
Mm-hmm.
So Connor may like have a good grasp on dealing with, I guess, quote unquote prospects, because like you said, some of these prospects have like longer careers than you would assume with the word prospect tagged on them.
Yeah, it's an easy way for the people watching who may not be fight fans, right? Like,
Yeah.
Like I have, I have like my girlfriend like watching the fights next to me. Like she's just like, yeah, but she gets into it even though she was knocked out before the first fight even started. Which had she just held on just a little bit longer, she would have been the end of it. Like, all right, well.
Yeah.
Also,
the coaching is interesting though, but I will say though, I have seen plenty of Ultimate Fighter seasons. Some of them you could tell the fighters have either just no experience or even just no interest in coaching and just kind of let their coaches do the. It seems like Connor and Michael are like very hands-on.
Yeah.
So I like seeing that.
Outside of the weigh-in.
Yeah, the weigh-in was weird.
Because
Connor just not showing up.
Because he kind of showed up like when he was getting ready. When who was it? Nate Jennerman. Yeah. When he was getting ready, and it was interesting. I think that both teams respect the coach. Maybe that changes throughout the season. We'll see. Just kind of depends. Do you have a favorite yet when it comes to prospects or vets?
Not really. I'm not super familiar with any of them particularly. So I'll see as the show goes on. Most of their performances, I'm sure I've seen before from the vets, being consistently watching UFC for years and years and years. But I would need to deep dive to remind myself on who they are and what they do.
Yeah. I there's times I've watched fights and then I'm like, shit, I gotta go back and watch. I didn't take any notes or anything.
It happens all the time. They'll like start showing highlights from certain fighters, and I'm just like, oh, that's who that is.
Yeah. Yeah, it happens, man. I mean, the fact that we don't have superhuman memory. You want to get straight into the fight?
Yeah.
I mean, it was quick. It was definitely one of the fastest finishes. It started off with so Roosevelt Roberts comes out, throws a one kind of like a rangefinder. Like I don't think it actually touched him. Maybe just would have grazed. And then the two lands, and you're like, oh, okay. And then Gentleman returns. I want to say he returned like another shot or like one or two back, and then that's when he gets cracked over the top and just drops.
Yeah. And it was extremely fast.
And then Roosevelt goes on top of the cage, right? Looks at Dana and say, "Hey, I know I fucked up, but I'm coming back, right?" And he's gonna get another shot eventually. It might not be after tough, and if he loses, if he wins, awesome, but he'll get another shot, man. That was awesome. But I know the chin is gonna be questionable, right?
Yeah, and being the receiving end of probably one of the highlights of the season, probably not gonna help too much of a case, but I'm sure they'll give him something. Maybe they'll have him be one of the guys that sticks around just in case somebody drops out.
Oh, what? I'm sorry. I mean for Roosevelt. Like, do you remember the clip that they showed?
Enderman.
Yeah, no. I mean, maybe that's yeah. I hope so. It was kind of like a little too quick, but if it happens
Sounds
again,
great.
then it's like what can you do?
Yeah.
Um, but for a lot of these guys, like even if they don't get their shot in the UFC, this is how they're gonna build a career. Like even if it's like being the biggest name on a card in their pond or in their area, like that's huge. You know,
Yeah.
because now you can bring fans to the guys who are getting their very first fight in. Get them used to that and get them feeling that. Build and just continue building MMA. Like I want more organizations out there. I wish I knew about more local stuff, but I actually, before we started recording this, I was telling you about a buddy who's going to be fighting at the Commerce Casino. Uh, he's fought a couple times. He's also been on Eddie Bravo's grappling production that he throws, which it's pretty nice. I don't know if you've seen it.
I don't think I have. I haven't delved too deep into the jiu-jitsu world. I probably should though.
It's its own thing for sure. I think they just had Jiu-Jitsu Worlds in Long Beach yesterday. I was working. But if we real quick want to go through just the coaches and who they have. So for Team McGregor at 135, you have his number 1 pick, Mondo Gutierrez. His number 2 pick, Trevor Wells. Number 3, Carlos Vera. Number 4, Rico D. Sciullo? I haven't even tried to pronounce that yet. I'm sorry for butchering that. His 155ers, which I was surprised we only get 4 of each on each team. That like it I don't know. It always seems like much more when you like think about it, and then you look at the names. You're like, oh, that's not a lot of people.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, we have 12 weeks.
Um. Yeah, think so. I mean, I really liked the way that they condensed everything down because the picking always feels very drawn out, and I guess this is also a way. Well, I'm not sure. I was gonna say it was a way of like kind of like keeping people from feeling like they were like last pick or something, but the way that they number it, did they actually number them or is it just like
They
random
did. It
numbers?
wasn't it wasn't well explained in the episode, like
Mm,
their ranking format and why they gave them that ranking. Like I wish that was the one thing I enjoyed was when like the coaches sat there and like, okay, this is our one guy. No, but what about this guy? Da, da, da. Like that's okay to me. I'm okay with that bit. But I mean, they wanted to get straight through the episode,
yeah.
um, and understandable. You need a hard first episode, and I think for some people, Tough was getting a little stagnant. So it looks great at the Apex, man. Like I
Yeah.
like the fights being there because it's just they already know what to expect. You know.
And we've had years and years and years of fights of the Apex now. So now fans like are completely fine with seeing fights at the Apex when, before the idea could have been like, oh, they're just the smaller fights or something. I feel like just that alone
Mm-hmm.
might put people at like I don't know, not think of these as like nothing fights or fights with nobodies or anything. Like
No, I think these are gonna be highly competitive. I
yeah,
mean, these guys are gonna like come out there and try to kill each other. There's
yeah. I'm trying
there.
to think of a way to put it in a way that makes sense, but it's like, now that people like casual fans too are used to seeing the Apex,
Mm-hmm.
the Ultimate Fighter being this will probably be a pretty big season, being the Connors on it.
Yep.
I think it's just like people are used to seeing the Apex, so they're just like, oh yeah, these are just like regular UFC fights.
Absolutely. I'm gonna continue down the 155 list real quick. Lee
Mhm.
Hammond. So McGregor's team. Lee Hammond is number 1 guy. Number 2 getting outed pretty early. Nate Jennerman. I feel for the guy, but hopefully they throw him another bone. But this could be his last endeavor, and if he just needs to take the time to learn, soak as much as he can. Number 3 guy, Aaron McKenzie. The number 4, Landon Kionis Stewart. Team Chandler, his 135ers in order: Hunter Azure, Brad Katona, who again won the top 27, 35. The number 3 guy, Timur Valiev. Number 4, Cody Gibson, and I'm trying to remember who is McGregor's teammate. They were talking
As
about.
in,
There's a guy, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm a teammate of McGregor, but it's just how it works." Where he's training with Chandler.
oh, God, which one was that? I believe it was one of the 135 guys.
Mm-hmm.
Let me check.
While you're finishing that up, Cody Gibson there, 35, and then starting off with the 55ers, Jason Knight, Austin Hubbard, Roosevelt Roberts just picked up the really good highlight win, and Kurt Hollowbaugh. So I believe next week we're gonna get Trevor Wells and Timur Valiev. So more 35er. I'm sorry. The
I
fight was
was
at
right.
55. Who was it?
Yeah. I was thinking, I was like, I'm pretty sure it's Brad Katona, but I
It
was like, let me double check, and it is.
Wow. See what I mean? Like, could watch episodes of Tough and be like, what happened? It been tough. No, it's. I think this season's gonna be fun, man. There's so much going on, and I think just kind of floating in the air, right? We're talking about the fight with Connor and Chandler, and we're gonna have another video coming soon, very soon. I think we're gonna record that next.
Yeah.
And it's just gonna be talking about that fight. We have a little fun spin on it just to kind of break up some of the 2-channel thing that we do here. But with that being said, Steven, brother, Team Chandler, Team McGregor, who you got?
That is a good question because it's legitimately veterans versus prospects.
Gun to your head, you got to pick one.
I'm gonna lean towards veterans,
Mm-hmm.
just solely on the fact that they've been in the game. Just because they were unsuccessful in the first run, or even they just wanted another shot to kind of boost up their status,
Yeah.
doesn't mean that they've run their course or anything. I think there's still a very good chance that these guys start taking off and just getting victory after victory, especially if it starts becoming consistent with McGregor showing up less and less. I feel like that might affect uh might affect some of Team McGregor a bit, but who knows? Maybe they just don't really care.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I like the prospects. I think they are going to be hungry. I just don't know. I mean, you have a lot of experience on Chandler's side there, like a lot. So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. I think it's going to be interesting that Katona is with Chandler. I don't know if they're going to explore that dynamic a little bit more or not, but it'd be really fun if they did. But they've already filmed everything, right? Like we
Yeah.
already, like, they know who the winner is. It just can't be spoiled now. But
Yeah.
with that being said, Steven, thank you, buddy. I appreciate you. You're always a good one. And for everyone else, if you enjoyed the content, if you enjoyed what we're talking about, go ahead, give the big ol' subscribe, hit the notification bell, because YouTube loves all that stuff. That being said, thank you guys, and we'll see you on the next one.
See ya.